Hey everyone, it's Jill Lancet here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. Straight off a high from going to Onstage. Onstage is like a big conference for all demonstrators from Stampin' Up! And we get to review the upcoming catalogues and things like that, and heaps of freebies. It's really, really full on all day. And these are three of the stamp sets that I got from the day. So we all got some goodies. They have what is called prize patrol, and you're given a number, and when that number's called out, you get a prize. Don't even have to do anything. Anyway, it's really great fun, and it's, you know, really a big deal in our little Stampin' Up! World. So we got this one, hand-drawn dots. I haven't even played with half of these yet, but yep, it's a beautiful red rubber stamp. That's how it ends up. And the other one, excuse me, that was in our goodie bag was this one here, Beautifully Happy. It's a two-step stamp. I'm going to be using this today. I've already posted a card I made with this, and I'm going to show you how I made that using the two-step stamp method. And this is the third one we got, decorative borders. And look, they're going to come in so handy. Look, beautiful foliage. There's a little corner one. Really, really nice. Open so that you can colour them. Yeah, that one's going to come in handy. But I'm going to show you, normally I've got everything cut for you, but today I decided I would just make the card as I go along, just so you can see how the process works. So we are going to be using this Beautifully Happy. I've got my card base here already, because that's boring, you don't want to see that. And I've got some Evening Evergreen. Now what I like to do is I'll get a couple of sheets of the A4 and just cut them in half, and then in half again, and end up with quarters. So these are in a little drawer handy, and I can cut them down to whatever size I need as I go along. It just saves me from having to cut into a full sheet of A4. So I'm going to need one of those, and I'm going to cut it to this size. Now this, I just made this myself. It just is a reminder to tell me the most common sizes of mats, as we like to call them. And I just keep them on a ring. So I've just got a few here. So the first one is this size here, which is 14.3 by 10 centimetres. And then I'm going to cut up some beautiful designer series paper. I know that's really hard. Really hard sometimes to do that first cut into it. But anyway, it's going to be that size there. So let's get on with it. I've got my paper trimmer here. And the first one is the Evening Evergreen. And it's going to be 10 centimetres by 14.3. Now I want to show you, these are really tiny measurements in centimetres and millimetres, but once your eye becomes accustomed to them, you can see them easily. So it's 14.3. So here's 14, and I'm talking about this top row of measurements here. So 14.1, 14.2, 14.3. And cut, beautifully cut. I did replace this blade not so long ago, so it's cut it beautifully. So I'll put that one aside. And the paper is some beautiful paper that we were given also. It's going to be very, very glary, but it's coming up in the new catalogues, in the new mini catalogue, and it's called the Dry Brushed. It's where I had a knot in my tongue. Dry Brushed Metallic series, specialty designer series paper, and it came in these two colours. Now they've got, obviously you can see that they've got foil on them. So this one here is called the Soft Succulent colour. It's a beautiful bluey greeny colour, but it has got blue foil accents. And the other one is this one, which is telling me on the paperwork that it's Cajun Craze, but I'm actually going to pair it with Calypso Coral today because I like it better. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to cut this down to 13.8 by 9.5. So I'm going to do the 9.5 centimetre measure first. So 9.5. I'm looking here. I hope you can see that. And the other one is 13.8. So here's 13. And it's too short of 14. So I can go to 14 and count backwards. Okay. And I've got a perfect layer for my card. I can pop that away now. So they're going to go on the front of the card like this. And the card has a white base. And I'm going to need a small piece of the basic white. So again, I always keep some already cut in a quarter sheet, like a 4 out of an A4 sheet. Gosh, I'm all over the place. I think I've had too much coffee today. And I want to cut that. Here's the card that I made in the blue and the greens. So I want to cut that at 6.5 by 10.5. So I'll go ahead with that. So 6.5. 6.5. Oh, better check that that's 10.5. Yep. 6.5, measure twice, cut once. 6.5 by 10.5. And there we go. It's going to chop a tiny wee little bit off there. And that's the bit we're going to be stamping on. So we're in business now. Let me get started. So I don't have any Calypso Coral ribbon. Oh no. So what I decided to do was colour some of this beautiful crinkled seam binding with the light Calypso Coral blend, and it's so easy to do, and I'll show you how right this second. You take the lid off the fat end, that's the thick end, and you're just using the side of it, you just colour it in. It doesn't do any harm to the ribbon. The only thing you need to worry about is it's going through. So you want to protect your surface or whatever it is you've got on your desk. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. So we'll cut a fair bit of it. And if we need more, we can always colour more. That's how simple that is. Now I've got Calypso Coral ribbon. So I'll just snip that off around about there. And we'll pop that aside to dry. It only takes a couple of minutes to dry because that is an alcohol ink. So the alcohol evaporates very quickly. So we're going to do some stamping. Now this is what we call a two-step stamp. And by that I mean... Hang on, I'm just looking for my big block. There's an outline, and then there are these other stamps that fill it in. So you're effectively stamping it twice, once to stamp the outline, once to stamp the inside. So I'll show you how this works. And they're the beautiful photopolymer ones, so you can see where you're going. Now I'll just get my chamois ready. and pop this on the block, and we'll stamp the outline. So I'm going to stamp it kind of at an angle and down a little bit, because I want to fit a little greeting in there. And the greeting I want is called Sending Happy Thoughts. Nope, that's not it. Nope, it's over here. Sending Happy Thoughts. Can't read backwards. No, that's not even it either. I'm telling you, either too much or not enough coffee. That's what's happening here today. Okay, so I've got those ready now. This is why I prepare half of it, because, and I'm going to stamp it in the Evening Evergreen. Now, this is a fairly new ink pad. So with the photopolymer, we use our Stampin' Pierce mat and usually a piece of scrap paper just to protect that mat. So I'm going to have a practice go first, just on this scrap piece of paper, just to see what the ink concentration is like. And you don't have to smush it down. Like, this foam mat will do all the work for you. Beautiful. So now I'll just give that another ink, and we'll do it for real this time. Okay, so I want it to go kind of like that. Right there, like that. So just give it a bit of a hold down and let that ink absorb into the cardstock. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Now just clean that before I do something I might regret. And that's so easy with the chamois. It's just got water on it. There's no chemicals. Every now and again you just give it a good clean, just rinse it out and squeeze it, and it cleans it perfectly. So we'll pop that one over there. While I've got the ink pad out, again, I'm going to have a little test run. Lovely. So I want to position that up here somewhere. So my head might get in the way. Just bear with me for a second. Hope that's straightish. I say straightish. There we go. Hold it down for a second. And we're only using the two colours, but we will be stamping off with this darker green. We will be stamping off because that way I get two tones of the same colour. So we're going to need a couple of the others now, and I'll show you just how easy this is. So I want to stamp these leaves in green, and the beautiful designers at Stampin' Up have made this incredibly easy. Look at that. Now let me just show you where they fit. They fit right around that flower. Now if I lay that on there, you can see where they're going to go. And it doesn't matter if they're not 100% perfect. This is a handmade card, okay? But I want to stamp that off, and I'll show you on here. So I'm going to stamp it full strength and then stamp it off. And you get this beautiful paler version of that, but it's got all this texture. If you can see that, it's a photopolymer, but they call it a distinctive, which is like newspaper print. You know, when photographs in the newspaper, they're totally black and white, but they've got all of this variation which brings the photo to life. So that's what's happening with these. It's like little dots. So we'll do it again, and you might have to bear with me for a second while I stick my head in the way. But I need to be right over the top. I hope you guys can see that. There we go. Now, again, I said it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. You get like a graphic look if there's a bit of outline showing or white showing. But there we go. Look at that. And look at the difference, the tonage in that. So that's in green. I'll clean that one. And we'll do the next one, which is also in green. And I don't know what sort of flowers these are, but these long buds here, they're going to be in green. And the stamp, again, the stamp has them all beautifully worked out for you. So we'll pop it on there. And we'll have another practice go. Now I might make it full tone just to give it a different look. So yeah, we'll do that. And I know I just stuck my finger in that, because that's the way things happen around here. Okay, so give me 2 seconds while I sort this out. Now I'm looking to match that flower, and the top there. And it really isn't that hard once you get the hang of this. Okay. Looks pretty good to me, because you can see through it even with the ink. So they're going to appear in a darker green. So we've got 2 tones of green happening now. I don't want to touch it with this finger because I just, look, that's why I don't leave them open. Okay, so that's cleaned. I just cleaned that with the chamois. And now we're going to do the flowers. And the good thing about this is, look, they're printed in the case for you now. So you can see instantly if you have a stamp missing or it's out of the case. So yeah, it's really good. It's really handy. So we're going to do the flowers, and that's these flowers here. And I'm going to do them in, let's put the lid on that before I make a mess. And I'm going to do those in the Calypso Coral. Hang on. Chamois is also good for getting ink off your fingers. Yeah, the Calypso Coral, which should match this beautiful paper that we have. Okay. Now, I'm going to test it out here. I want to see if I want it full strength or if I want it stamped off. So we'll do full strength first, and then we'll stamp off. I think full strength. What do you think? Yep, we'll do it full strength. Just give that a bit of a wipe. And I think full strength. And again, I'm just going to put my head in the way. Sorry about that. But I'm lining up this flower here, and this flower here. If those 3 are lined up, that one will have to be lined up. So, and it's half off the page anyway, so. I don't show my face very often, and the one time I do, it's the top of my head. Sorry about that, guys. Right, so we'll just hold that down for a minute. Now that's a very quick stamping method. Now, as I said, it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter. It just looks like it's got a highlight happening on the flower. So I can give that one a clean. And that's all the stamping done. But we are going to do some spattering and some swiping, for want of a better word. So I'm going to take the light Calypso Coral, and with the fat end, the big paintbrush end, I'm just going to do a little bit of light splattering. Now, you probably can't see it from there, but I will hold it up and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, you don't want to do that very hard. You just want to rest the nib against the lid and just flick gently. And they're quite juicy. If they're not juicy, then maybe you need to replace them. And the other colour is going to be the light evening evergreen, because it's such a strong colour. I just want to do a little bit of that. So, and I will hold that up in a second. So just a couple of little bits here and there. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I'll hold that up and you can have a look. You can see the very, very fine spattering, and it just gives it something. Now the other thing I did was I added one of these really beautiful gold adhesive backed swirls. Now I don't know if you can see those. The light might be just too bright, but they look like, you know, those red and white lollies that go round and round. I put one right in the middle there of this flower here, and I cannot find my take your pick, so I'll have to use this, which is just a craft knife. So they've already got the adhesive on the back, makes it so super simple. And because the paper has gold foil, I'm just picking up this gold, the gold accent. So there we go, look at that. Now I'm going to do some swiping and I'll show you what that is. It's just taking your ink pad, and I'm doing it in the evening evergreen. I'm just taking my ink pad and I'm just running the edges of this through there, and it's just going to colour the edges. And because the ink pad is spongy, it will go down a bit, so yeah, it just gives the illusion that there might be another piece of cardstock on there. And it also helps to define this little piece that we have here against a very, very busy, or in this case, shiny background. So now you can see that little border there. Okay, so now, where's all our bits and pieces gone? Who knows? Here they are. If you could see this desk, I swear. Okay, so we want to put our little beautiful Calypso coral ribbon. It tones in really well with that. So we just need a little bit, and I usually just tape it. I usually just tape it to the back, and then I've got enough ribbon to tie the bow with. So you want to go about 2/3 down. Okay, so just some Stamp and Seal. Just a little bit will do. Like the old Brill Cream ad, just a little dab will do ya. And it's crinkled, so it comes already crinkled. And it just adds to it. There we go. Now I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals, and I've got some here. And it's usually one in each corner of these smaller pieces, and just a couple along the long side. I don't like them to sag. So, and then maybe one there and one there. So what's that? 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 dimensionals. And I want to glue this onto there. So you can see there's a lot of gold with that splash of that beautiful colour there. And I'm going to use the seal, because sometimes with the metallics, the liquid paper will, the liquid glue will leave a mark on the metal, especially on the metallics. And you only need just the littlest bit of Stamp and Seal. And it's not the plus, it's just the Stamp and Seal. So just a little bit there, a little bit there, and a little bit in the middle. So you don't need a lot. Once it's flat and it's stuck down, yeah, you really don't need a lot. So I'm just going to check the border all the way around. and that's it. Just give it a bit of a rub. Check that your card opens the right way. And we're just going to, I will liquid glue this on there. So just a little bit of liquid glue. I'm sorry, I might be out of the camera every now and again. And again, we've got an even border all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to pop this on there. Now, this is really a quick card. The two-step stamps make it very easy to colour your images. You could also colour that with your blends or your pencils, or even with a water brush and ink and do like a watercolour. So that's going on the front there. Hope that's even Steven. And we'll just make a bow and pop that on with glue dots. So fortunately, I've left enough to do a little bow. It's a bit fiddly doing bows sometimes, but that's the way of the business, isn't it? Bows or no bows, fiddly or not. So just make them, like once you've made the bow, then you fiddle with it to get it to the right size. And that looks pretty nice. Okay, glue dot. Now I take the bow to the glue dot. There's the glue dot there. There's the glue dot there. I don't know if you can see that. Now it's bigger than the bow, okay? So we just pop it on there like that. Peel it off. Oops. I told you those things get everywhere. So just peel it off and then turn that onto itself. So I'm effectively rolling it in on itself. And then I think I'll put it there like that. Just to fill in that space there. Give that a bit of a trim. Now, it's a bit wibbly wobbly as you can see. So what I normally do there is tear off my glue dot, pop it underneath, press it down, peel it off, and then it'll sit down. So there they are, side by side. The border on this one is just a little bit different. I know there's a lot of glaring going on there, but the paper is absolutely beautiful. This, I think, is my favourite. This bluey, soft, succulent, bluey, greeny colour. But, you know, I mean, who doesn't love this Calypso Coral one? Anyway, that is today's card. It's using a new stamp set and some new paper that is coming out in the new catalogue, which I can't show. I can show you the cover, but I haven't got it here. I'm sorry to do that to you, but I just haven't got it here at the moment. You can go to my online store, and which is here, jilllancet.stampinup.net, all lowercase. You won't find these products, the paper or the stamp sets. They are coming out, and if you want to jot that down as soon as the catalogue comes out, you'll know which one you want. It's called Beautifully Happy, and it's got some really nice for a feeling better kind of day, sending happy thoughts, for a very happy birthday, kindness matters, thank you, and you are easy to love. But that's how the two-step stamps work, and because they're photopolymer, you can see through them, so you can see where you've got to place them. And with a bit of practice, and when I say practice, literally probably 2 or 3 goes and you'll have it down pat. And it doesn't matter if they're not perfect. If there's a bit of white, it just looks like it's a graphic design. So anyway, thank you for that. This one I just did a little knot on. This one I did a bigger bow. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. And I do appreciate that everybody, you know, has things to do. But I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.